Have you ever been right there in the quiet rhythm of closeness when suddenly, without warning, he lifts your legs, not with force, not with demand, but with a kind of quiet certainty, as if something deep inside him already knew this was the moment? 1 second, you're wrapped in the familiar warmth of his touch. The next, your legs are rising, guided by his hands, and everything shifts. Your breath catches, not from surprise, but from something deeper. A stillness settles over you, like the world outside has paused just to hold this second. Your back arches slightly, not because you planned it, but because your body already understands what your mind is only beginning to grasp. This isn't just a change in position. This is a threshold. For so many women, this moment brings a flicker of self-consciousness. Am I doing this right? Does this look strange? Should I be doing something? You might tense up just for a heartbeat, trying to perform the way you think you're supposed to. But then you feel it, the way his rhythm slows, the way his eyes lock onto yours, not to judge, but to connect. And in that gaze, something softens inside you. You stop thinking. You start feeling. This is the moment many women never talk about, not because it's shameful, but because it's sacred. It's the instant your body stops being something you manage and starts being something you inhabit fully. No filters, no scripts, just raw, unguarded presence. And here's the truth no one prepares you for. That lift, the way he raises your legs with such quiet intention, doesn't just change the angle between your bodies. It changes the energy between your souls. You might have felt it before and dismissed it as just part of the act. But if you pause and really remember, you'll notice how time seemed to slow, how your skin became more sensitive, how even the sound of your own breath felt louder, richer, more alive. This isn't coincidence. It's not random. And it's certainly not something he copied from a screen. It's something far older, far deeper. It's the body speaking a language the mind hasn't learned yet, but the heart already knows. And if you've ever felt that shift and wondered, why does this feel so different? You're not alone. In fact, you're exactly where you're meant to be. Because what you felt in that moment wasn't just physical. It was a doorway, and today we're going to walk through it together. So take a breath. Let your shoulders soften. There's no performance here. No right or wrong. Just you, your truth, and the quiet power of a moment you've already lived, but are only now beginning to understand. It's never random. For years, I thought it was just a habit, something men picked up from movies or late night scrolling, a mechanical shift like adjusting a pillow or changing the channel. I assumed it was about access, about angle, about making things work better. But the more I paid attention, not just to my own experiences, but to the quiet stories women share in hushed tones, the more I realized this move is never random. Not really. Because when a man lifts your legs in that deliberate, unhurried way, he's not following a script. He's responding to a signal yours. Maybe it was the way your breath hitched when he touched a certain spot. Maybe it was the soft sigh you didn't even realize you made. Or maybe it was the way your hips tilted just slightly, as if your body was already inviting him deeper. He didn't plan it, he found it, felt it. And that's the key most women miss. This isn't about technique. It's about attunement. Think of it like music. A skilled musician doesn't play the same note louder just because it's in the sheet music. He listens to the room, to the silence between notes, to the way the audience leans in, and then he adjusts. He follows the feeling, not the formula. That's what's happening in this moment. When he lifts your legs, he's not thinking time for position X. He's thinking, without words, she's opening, she's here. Let me meet her there. This is instinct. Yes, but it's also intimacy in its purest form. It's the male psyche responding not to fantasy, but to reality, the real woman in front of him, breathing, trembling, surrendering in real time. And that's why it feels so different from anything you've seen or imagined, because what you're experiencing isn't choreography. It's conversation, a silent skin-to-skin dialogue where every shift, every pause, every gasp is a sentence. And in that language, the lift of your legs isn't a command, it's a question. Can I go deeper? And your body, in its wisdom, already answered, yes. This is why it catches you off guard. Not because it's aggressive, but because it's so deeply personal. It bypasses your thoughts and speaks directly to your nervous system, to the part of you that knows trust when it feels it. So if you've ever wondered why this moment lingers in your memory long after the night ends, it's because it wasn't just physical. It was a moment of true alignment where his instinct met your openness and something unspoken passed between you. And that, my love, is never random. It's recognition. It's resonance. It's the quiet miracle of two people finding each other, not in performance, but in presence. And now that you see it, you'll never unsee it again. Because what comes next isn't just about pleasure, it's about power, the kind that lives in surrender, in trust, in the courage to let someone see you fully. But before we go there, there's one more truth you need to hear. The first truth no one tells you, here it is. The truth that changes everything when a man raises your legs. He's not trying to get closer to your body. He's trying to get closer to you, not your performance, not your pose, not the version of you that's been edited by insecurity or expectation, but the real you, the one who breathes when she's overwhelmed, who trembles when she's turned on, who lets go when she feels safe. That's what he's reaching for. And that's why this moment feels so different from anything else, because it's not about mechanics. It's about meaning. Most women spend so much energy trying to do intimacy right, positioning themselves, monitoring their sounds, worrying about how they look, that they miss the most powerful thing they could ever offer, their full presence. But in the moment your legs are lifted, something shifts. The performance ends, the mask slips, and for the first time in a long time, you're not trying to be desirable, you simply are. And that is magnetic, because here's what men rarely say out loud. They don't want a perfect body. They want a real woman, one who isn't afraid to let go, one who trusts him enough to stop managing the moment and start living it. When you allow your legs to rise, not because you're told to, but because your body says yes, you're giving him a gift far rarer than physical access. You're giving him permission to lead with his heart, not just his hands. You're saying, without words, I'm here. All of me, take me deeper. And in that surrender, you don't lose power, you claim it, because true feminine power isn't about control. It's about choice, the choice to open, the choice to trust, the choice to let someone witness you in your most vulnerable, most alive state and know that you are still worthy. This is why the moment stays with you, not because of how it felt physically, though that matters, but because of how it made you feel emotionally seen, safe, and deeply desired for who you are, not what you do. And that's the secret no one talks about. This move isn't about him taking something from you. It's about you offering something only you can give your unguarded yes. So the next time it happens, and it will, don't rush to do anything. Don't tense up. Don't narrate the moment in your head. Just breathe. Let your body receive. Let your heart open. Because in that space, you're not just being touched, you're being met. And that meeting, that real, raw, wordless connection is where intimacy transforms from something you have into something you are. But as powerful as this truth is, it's only the beginning, because beneath the sensation, beneath the symbolism, there's something even deeper at play, something rooted in your very biology, in the way your body was designed to feel, to respond, to awaken. And once you understand that, everything changes. But that's only the surface. The body's hidden language, your nervous system awakens. You've felt it. That sudden wave of intensity the moment your legs lift. It's not just deeper. It's different, sharper, more alive, like every nerve in your body just woke up from a long sleep and you're not imagining it. Your body isn't just skin and bone. It's a landscape of pathways, clusters, and silent signals waiting for the right key to unlock them. And when your legs rise, even just a few inches, something shifts inside you that goes far beyond position or pressure. It's geometry meeting biology. When your pelvis tilts upward, your abdominal wall softens. The angle between you and him changes, not dramatically, but meaningfully. And in that subtle realignment, nerve endings that were once shielded or angled away suddenly become fully exposed, not in a vulnerable way, but in a receptive one. Think of it like sunlight hitting a room through a window you didn't know was there. One moment, everything is dim. The next, warmth floods in, touching corners that had been in shadow for years. This isn't magic, it's design. Your body was built for this, not for performance, not for perfection, but for deep, resonant connection. And the intensity you feel when your legs are raised, that's not an accident. It's your nervous system saying, finally, this is what I've been waiting for. But here's what most women don't realize. You don't need to do anything to make this work. You don't need to arc more, squeeze tighter, or hold your breath. In fact, the more you relax into it, the more you let your muscles soften, your breath deepen, your mind quiet, the more your body can receive what it's already wired to feel. Because pleasure isn't something you chase, it's something you allow. And in this position, your body isn't just open physically, it's open energetically. The space between your hips, the curve of your lower back, The way your weight settles, it all creates a kind of internal resonance, like a tuning fork struck in just the right place, sending vibrations through your entire core. That's why the sensation feels so full, so encompassing, not just localized, but whole body. You don't just feel it there. You feel it in your chest, your throat, the tips of your fingers. Your entire being hums with it. And the beautiful irony, you've had this capacity all along. It wasn't missing. It was just waiting for the right conditions to bloom. So if you've ever felt numb, disconnected, or like your body doesn't respond the way it should, please hear this. You're not behind. You're not less than. You're simply waiting for the moment your body is invited, not forced, not pressured, but gently guided into its natural state of openness. And when that happens, when your legs lift and your pelvis opens and your breath slows, your nervous system doesn't just react. It remembers how to feel, how to receive, how to surrender without shame. And that remembrance, that's where true pleasure begins, not in the act, but in the allowance. So the next time it happens, don't try to make it work. Just let your body do what it already knows how to do. Breathe, soften, receive, because your body isn't asking for more effort. It's asking for more trust. And when you give it that, everything changes. He's reading your response, not just your body. Here's something most women never consider. In that moment, he's not watching your legs. He's watching you, not your shape, not your pose, but the tiny involuntary signals your body sends when it's truly touch. The way your breath stops for half a second, the flutter in your eyelids, the way your fingers curl into the sheets without you even noticing. These aren't just reactions. They're revelations. To him, they're proof that he's reaching you, not just physically, but emotionally. And that proof is more intoxicating than any visual, any fantasy, any scripted performance, because men don't just want to touch you, they want to move you. And when he sees your body respond in real time, when he watches you lose your composure, even for a heartbeat, he doesn't feel like a spectator. He feels like a participant in something sacred. This is why he pays such close attention, not out of judgment, but out of hunger for connection, for confirmation, for the quiet thrill of knowing he's the one causing that shift in you. Think of it like this. If intimacy were a conversation, your body is speaking in a language he's been trying to understand his whole life. And in that moment, when your legs lift and your breath catches and your back arches, you're not just saying words, you're singing, and he's listening deeply. This is also why faking it never works long term, because men can feel the difference between performance and presence. They might not be able to name it, but they know when your response is real, because it changes them. When you're truly open, he becomes more focused, more present, more intentional. Not because he's trying to impress you, but because your authenticity pulls him into the moment like a current. And that's the secret no one tells you. Your genuine reaction is your greatest power. You don't need to be louder, tighter, or more dramatic. You just need to be real, because the moment he sees you truly let go, when your eyes lose focus, when your voice breaks on a whisper, when your body moves without your mind's permission, that's when he knows she's here, all of her. And that knowledge doesn't make him feel dominant. It makes him feel honored, because to be the one who witnesses a woman's true surrender, to be trusted with her unfiltered pleasure, is one of the most intimate gifts a man can receive. So stop worrying about how you look. Stop managing your sounds. Stop trying to give him what he wants. Just feel. Because your real response, raw, unedited, unguarded, is the very thing that transforms ordinary touch into unforgettable connection. And he's not just watching it, he's being changed by it. The feedback loop of desire now. Let's talk about what happens next, because this is where intimacy becomes something far more powerful than a series of movements. It becomes a loop, a quiet, wordless cycle where your response fuels his presence, and his presence deepens your surrender, and your surrender ignites his focus, and on, each turn amplifying the other, like waves building on the same shore. This is the feedback loop of true desire. It starts with a single signal. Maybe it's the way your hips tilt toward him when he touches you just right. He notices. Without thinking, he adjusts, slows his rhythm, deepens his pressure. You feel it, and your body responds with a shiver, a gasp, a soft moan. He hears it, feels it, sees it. And in that moment, something shifts in him, not just physically, but emotionally. He's no longer just doing, he's connecting. And that shift in him, it lands in you. You feel his increased focus like a current running through you. Your breath deepens. Your muscles relax, your mind quiets, and in that stillness, you surrender even more, which tells him, without words, more of this, stay here. And so he does. This isn't choreography, it's co-creation. And the beautiful part, neither of you is in full control. You're both following the energy between you, like dancers who've never rehearsed but move as one because they're listening, not leading. This is why the moment your legs are raised becomes so transformative. It's not just about access or angle, it's about creating the conditions for this loop to ignite. Because in that position, your body is more receptive, not just to touch, but to trust. And when you trust, you let go. And when you let go, he feels it. And when he feels it, he gives more of himself, not more force, more attention, more heart. And that's what makes the difference between good intimacy and unforgettable intimacy. It's not about who's on top or how long it lasts. It's about whether you're both truly in it, mind, body, and soul. So if you've ever felt like intimacy was one-sided or draining, this is your invitation to shift the dynamic. Stop trying to give him pleasure like it's a task to complete. Instead, let yourself receive fully, openly, without apology. Because when you do, you're not just enjoying the moment, you're activating the loop. You're telling him through your body, I'm here, I'm with you. Take me deeper. And in response, he won't just touch you more. He'll see you more. He'll feel you more. He'll stay with you more. And that, more than any technique, any position, any whispered phrase, is what makes him crave you long after the night ends. Because he's not just remembering your body. He's remembering how alive he felt when he was inside your pleasure. And that feeling, that's addictive. But as powerful as this loop is, it's still only one layer of what's really happening, because beneath the sensation, beneath the response, there's something even more primal at play, something visual, symbolic, and deeply wired into the male psyche. And once you understand that, you'll see this moment in a whole new light. The visual that ignites him, it's not about how you look. It's about what you signal. Let's clear something up right away when he lifts your legs. He's not thinking about how you look in that moment. Not in the way you might fear, not judging your thighs, your stomach, the way your hair falls across your face. He's not comparing you to an image from a screen or measuring you against some impossible standard, because in that instant, aesthetics fade. What matters isn't your shape, it's your signal. And the signal your body sends when your legs rise is one of the most powerful a woman can offer. I'm open. I'm all in. I trust you. This isn't about posing. It's not about angles for a camera or lighting that flatters. It's about raw, unfiltered availability, the kind that doesn't need words because it speaks through posture, through breath, through the quiet courage of letting someone see you fully. And that's what hits him. Not your skin, not your curves, but the meaning behind them. Think of it like a door. When your legs are lowered, the door is slightly ajar, inviting, but guarded. But when they lift even just a little, the door swings wide open, not recklessly, not carelessly, but with intention, with trust. And to a man who's emotionally present in that moment, that openness isn't just physical, it's emotional. It's a silent declaration that you're not holding back, that you're willing to meet him in the fire. That's why this image lingers in his mind long after the night ends, not because it was hot in a superficial way, but because it felt true, real, rare. In a world where so much intimacy has become performative, where women are taught to arch, to moan on cue, to look a certain way, your genuine openness becomes revolutionary because you're not performing desire, you're embodying it. And that embodiment, that's what awakens something deep in him. Not lust, but longing. The longing to be the one you choose to open for, the one you trust with your unguarded yes. So if you've ever felt self-conscious in this moment, please hear this. He's not seeing your flaws. He's seeing your courage. He's seeing the woman who dares to let go. And that woman, raw, real, and fully present, is the most magnetic version of you there is. So stop worrying about how you look. Start trusting what you're offering, because your openness isn't vulnerability in the fragile sense. It's power in its purest form. And it's that power, not your pose, that changes everything. The duality that captivates him. There's a quiet magic in this moment that most women never notice, but every man feels. It's the duality of your presence. On one side, there's softness, the curve of your hips, the warmth of your skin, the gentle surrender of your body as it yields to his hands. This is the feminine essence, the part of you that receives, that flows, that opens like a flower in the sun. But on the other side, just as strong, just as present, there's boldness, a raw, unapologetic invitation that says, you're the one I want, only you. This contrast is what makes the image of you with your legs raised so deeply captivating. It's not just passive, it's not just aggressive, it's both, and that balance is magnetic, because men are drawn to softness, yes, but they're ignited by choice. When you lift your legs, not because he demands it, but because your body says yes, you're not giving up power, you're claiming it. You're saying, I choose you, I choose this, I choose to be here fully. And that choice transforms everything. It turns surrender into strength. It turns openness into authority. It tells him without words, I'm not here by accident. I'm here because I want to be with you. This duality, softness, plight, agency, is what awakens something ancient in him. Not the urge to take, but the desire to dive deeper, to earn your trust, to match your energy. Because your boldness doesn't threaten him. It invites him. It tells him he's not just another body in the dark. He's the one you've chosen to share this sacred space with. And that knowledge that he's been selected, not just stumbled upon, fuels his focus, his tenderness, his devotion. This is also why this moment feels so different from anything you've seen in media. Because on screen, women are often portrayed as either passive objects or aggressive performers. But in real life, in the quiet intimacy of your bedroom, you hold both truths at once. You are soft and strong, receptive and intentional, surrendered and sovereign, and it's that wholeness, not perfection, that makes you unforgettable. So the next time your legs rise, don't shrink into self-doubt, expand into your power, because you're not just showing him your body, you're showing him your heart. And that's the most beautiful thing he'll ever see. He's not watching you, he's witnessing you. There's a world of difference between being looked at and being looked into. When you're looked at, you feel like an object, something to be evaluated, consumed, or compared. Your body becomes a thing separate from your soul. But when you're looked into, when his eyes hold yours as your legs lift and your breath catches, you feel seen, not just your skin, but your spirit, not just your sound, but your silence. This is witnessing. And in that moment, he's not watching you like a spectator. He's meeting you like a partner in something sacred. He sees the flush rise in your chest, the way your lower lip trembles when you try to stay quiet, the involuntary arch of your back as pleasure moves through you. And none of it feels like performance to him, because it's not, it's truth. And truth in intimacy is the rarest currency of all. This is why he doesn't look away, why his gaze stays locked on yours, even as his hands move, because he's not just tracking your body, he's tracking your presence. He's reading the story your nervous system is telling, I'm here, I'm with you, don't stop. And that story changes him, because to witness a woman in her full, unguarded pleasure, to see her lose control not out of fear but out of trust, is one of the most humbling experiences a man can have. It doesn't make him feel powerful. It makes him feel privileged. And that shift from dominance to devotion is what transforms ordinary sex into something that lingers in both your memories for weeks, months, even years. So if you've ever felt exposed in this moment, reframe it. You're not being exposed. You're being honored, because the man who truly sees you, who watches not to judge but to connect, is offering you a gift in return: his full attention, his undivided presence, his willingness to be changed by what he sees. And that exchange, your openness for his presence, is the foundation of deep, lasting intimacy. So the next time your legs rise and his eyes meet yours, don't look away. Hold his gaze. Let him see you. Because in that shared stillness, you're not just being touched, you're being known. And that knowing, that real, raw, wordless recognition, is what makes this moment sacred. But as profound as this visual exchange is, it's still only part of the story. Because beneath the gaze, beneath the symbolism, there's a quiet power dynamic unfolding, one that flips everything you thought you knew about control, surrender, and feminine strength. And once you understand it, you'll never feel passive in this moment again. What happens after the moment ends, the imprint that lingers, you felt it before, the way a certain night stays with you long after the sheets have cooled. Days later, you're folding laundry or sipping coffee, and suddenly you remember not the details, not the mechanics, but the feeling, the way your breath slowed, the way time seemed to dissolve, the way for just a few minutes nothing else existed but him, you, and the quiet fire between you. That's not nostalgia, that's an imprint. Your nervous system doesn't just experience intimacy, it records it, especially moments of deep presence where your body wasn't performing but participating fully. And when your legs were raised, your pelvis open, your breath unguarded. That was one of those moments. It wasn't just pleasure, it was presence. and presence leaves a mark. Your body is a living archive. Every touch, every gaze, every shared silence gets stored, not in your mind, but in your cells. And the deeper the connection, the stronger the imprint. That's why this moment flashes back to you out of nowhere, not because you're longing for the act itself, but because your body remembers how alive you felt, how seen, how safe. And that memory isn't passive, it's active. It shapes how you carry yourself the next day, how you speak to him, how you meet his eyes across the kitchen table. Because when intimacy is truly shared, when it's rooted in trust, not performance, it doesn't end when the physical act ends, it echoes. You might notice yourself walking taller, speaking softer, touching him more often, even in small ways, a hand on his arm, a lingering glance, not because you're trying to recreate the moment, but because your body is still vibrating from it. This is also why women often say, I didn't realize how disconnected I'd been until I felt truly connected. Because real intimacy isn't just about climax. It's about recalibration. It reminds your nervous system what safety feels like, what being wanted, truly wanted, feels like. And once you've felt that, you start craving it everywhere in your conversations, in your silences, in the way you move through the world. So if you've ever wondered why that night stays with you now, it wasn't just sex. It was a homecoming. And your body hasn't forgotten how he sees you differently now. Now, let's talk about him, because something shifts in him too, not in a dramatic movie-style way, but in the quiet, subtle ways that matter most. After a night like that, where your surrender was real, your presence full, your trust absolute, he doesn't just remember your body, he remembers you. And that changes how he sees you going forward. You might notice it in the way he looks at you the next morning, not with hunger, but with softness, like he's seeing you ain you, or in the way his hand lingers on your waist as you pass in the hallway, not to initiate anything, but just to stay connected. These aren't coincidences, they're echoes of the intimacy you shared, because when a man witnesses a woman in her truest form, unfiltered, unguarded, fully present, he doesn't just feel desire, he feels reverence, and that reverence changes his behavior. He becomes more attentive, more patient, more willing to slow down, to listen, to be present in the everyday moments, not just the intimate ones. Why? Because you showed him something rare, that intimacy isn't just about bodies coming together. It's about souls meeting in the space between them. And once he's tasted that, he doesn't want to go back to surface level connection. This is also why men often become more emotionally available after nights like this, not because they got what they wanted, but because they felt something deeper than want. They felt belonging. So if you've ever worried that being open makes you less mysterious or too available, let that fear go. True mystery isn't about withholding. It's about revealing yourself slowly, authentically, and only to those who've earned the privilege. And when you do that, when you let him see the real you, not the curated version, he doesn't take you for granted. He cherishes you because he knows what you gave him wasn't easy. It was sacred. And that knowledge changes everything. The thread that connects you, here's the most beautiful part of all that moment, doesn't live in isolation. It becomes a thread, a silent, invisible thread that weaves through your relationship long after the night ends. You'll feel it in the way he holds your hand during a movie, fingers interlaced like he's reminding himself you're there. In the way he pauses mid-sentence to really look at you when you speak. In the quiet comfort of sitting together in silence, no words needed, because you've shared something that can't be undone. You've gone somewhere most couples never go, not because it's complicated, but because it requires courage. The courage to drop the masks, to stop performing, to simply be. And once you've been there together, you carry that place with you. It becomes your secret language. The next time he lifts your legs, it's not just another move. It's a return, a homecoming, a silent reminder we've been here before. We belong here, and that continuity, that shared history of deep connection is what transforms a relationship from transactional to transcendent. This is also why these moments build resilience. When arguments come, and they will, that thread remains. It whispers, remember how we held each other. Remember how we saw each other. And that memory becomes an anchor, a reminder that beneath the surface noise, your bond runs deep. So don't underestimate the power of what happened that night. It wasn't just about pleasure. It was about weaving a new layer into the fabric of your connection, one made of trust, presence, and mutual vulnerability. And that layer, it doesn't fade, it strengthens, because every time you choose to be fully present with him, every time you let your legs rise not out of habit, but out of trust, You're not just creating a moment. You're building a legacy of intimacy that's real, raw, and deeply human. And that's something no screen, no fantasy, no performance can ever replicate. But as powerful as this thread is, there's still one truth left to uncover. One that goes beyond sensation, beyond symbolism, beyond even connection. It's the deepest reason of all, the one that lives not in the body, but in the soul. And that's where we go next. The deepest reason of all. It's not about sex. It's about oneness. Let's go deeper. Past sensation, past symbolism, past even emotional connection. Because the true reason men are drawn to this moment, the reason it lingers in their minds and hearts long after it ends, isn't about sex at all. It's about oneness in a world that teaches us to be separate, to protect ourselves, to perform, to keep parts of ourselves hidden. Intimacy like this is rare, not because it's physically intense, but because it dissolves the illusion of separation. When your legs rise and your body opens and his hands hold you with quiet certainty, something sacred happens. The space between you vanishes, not just physically, though that matters, but energetically, emotionally, spiritually. For those few minutes, there is no me and you. There is only os. Your breath syncs with his. Your rhythm becomes shared. Your thoughts fall away, not because you're distracted, but because you're so fully present that the noise of the outside world simply ceases to exist. This is what the mystics have spoken of for centuries, not in the context of romance, but of union. The moment two become one, not in ownership, but in presence. And this is what he's truly reaching for, not just your pleasure, but the feeling of being so deeply joined with another human being that time stops. Fear dissolves, and all that remains is the quiet hum of shared existence. That's why this moment feels so different from anything else. It's not about release. It's about return, a return to a state we rarely experience in modern life, total belonging. No mask, no roles, no expectations, just two souls skin to skin, pulse to pulse, meeting in the fire and finding to their quiet astonishment that they are not burned, but held. This is the unspoken hunger behind the lift of your legs. He's not trying to get somewhere. He's trying to arrive in you, to arrive with you, to arrive in the truth that for this moment, he is not alone. And when you meet him there, not with performance, but with presence, you give him a gift far greater than physical pleasure. You give him home. And that is why he remembers, not because of what you did, but because of what you allow at a moment of true unbroken connection in a world that so rarely offers it. So the next time it happens, don't think of it as just another part of intimacy. Think of it as a doorway and step through it together. Men crave closeness too. They just don't say it. Here's a truth that will change how you see him forever. Men crave closeness just as deeply as women do. They're just rarely given permission to say it. From boyhood, they're taught to be strong, stoic, self-reliant, to hide vulnerability, to equate emotion with weakness. So when the longing for true connection arises, as it does in all of us, they don't have the words to ask for it. So they ask with their hands. When he lifts your legs, he's not just seeking physical depth, he's seeking emotional union. He's saying without words, let me in, let me belong. Let me feel like I'm not alone in this. This is why the moment feels so charged, not with lust, but with need. A quiet, aching need to be fully seen, fully accepted, fully joined with someone who isn't afraid to meet him in the raw truth of the moment. And when you do, when you let your body open not out of obligation, but out of trust, you answer that need in the only language he knows how to receive presence. You don't have to say, I'm here for you. Your body says it for you. And that silent yes, that unguarded openness is more healing to him than any words could ever be. Because in that moment, he doesn't just feel desired, he feels safe. And for a man who's spent his life building walls to protect himself, that safety is revolutionary. It tells him, you don't have to perform. You don't have to be perfect. You can just be here with me. And that's enough. This is also why men often become more emotionally available after nights like this. Not because they got what they wanted, but because they felt something they didn't even know they were missing, the quiet joy of being fully accepted. So if you've ever wondered why he holds you longer afterward, why he whispers your name like a prayer, why he looks at you with eyes that seem softer, deeper, now you know. He's not just remembering your body, he's remembering how it felt to come home. And that memory changes him, because once a man has tasted true closeness, real, unguarded, wordless connection, he doesn't want to go back to surface level intimacy. He wants to return again and again, not to take, but to belong. And you, by offering your presence, Your trust, your full yes, are the one who makes that belonging possible. So never underestimate the power of your openness. It doesn't just change the moment, it changes him. Your invitation to live it fully. So here we are at the end of this journey and the beginning of a new way of being. You now know why he lifts your legs, not for access, not for control, but for connection, for closeness, for oneness, for the quiet miracle of two people meeting, truly meeting in the space between their bodies and their souls. And now the choice is yours. The next time it happens, and it will, what will you do? Will you tense up, caught in the old stories of, am I doing this right? Or does this look okay? Or will you take a breath and let go? Because this moment isn't about performance. It's about presence. It's not about how you look. It's about how you feel and how you allow yourself to be felt. So don't narrate it in your head. Don't manage it like a task to complete. Don't rush toward an ending. Just be there. Feel the weight of his hands. Hear the sound of your shared breath. Let your body soften into the truth that you are safe, you are wanted, you are enough, exactly as you are. Because in that stillness, you're not just being touched, you're being held in attention, in reverence, in something that feels a lot like love, even if no one says the word. And if you've ever wondered why this moment stays with you, why it returns to you like a song you didn't know you remembered, now you know. It wasn't about mechanics. It was about meaning. It was about surrender. It was about being fully seen and fully chosen. And that is something no position, no technique, no angle can ever replicate. It lives in the space between two hearts that dare to be open at the same time. So the next time he lifts your legs, don't just feel it. Lev it, breathe it, own it, let it change you. Because you are not here to perform intimacy. You are here to embody it. And in that embodiment, in that raw, real, unfiltered presence, you become not just desirable, you become unforgettable. Thank you for trusting me with this journey. If this resonated with you, know that you're not alone. Thousands of women are waking up to their power, their pleasure, and their presence just like you. And if you're ready to go deeper, hit subscribe, because this isn't the end. It's just the beginning